In this video, I'm going to be breaking down Neville Goddard's VIP exercise that he taught my grandfather in the back of the Wilshire E. Bell Theater, which was the law of thought transmission and having instant contact with someone. And you can use this technique that Neville Goddard taught. I'm going to cover it in detail in this video, but you can use this to have instant contact with somebody that you haven't seen in a long time. Maybe it's your specific person, or maybe it's just somebody that you want to call you. But regardless of what you want to use this for or who you want to have instant contact with, by the end of this video, you're going to know how to do it and how to develop the mind in order for you to be able to use this technique, just like Neville Goddard did, just like I have, just like my grandfather did, just like I know dozens of other people that can actually use this, and it works. But let's go ahead and jump right into this so that you can start applying this in your life, start using this, or start developing the mind to where you can get to that level where you can start applying it. Okay, so this is out of my book, You Are the Way, chapter 4.2, which you can actually find if you want to read along with me. You can find that link to my book in the description below. Okay, so this is Neville Goddard's VIP group exercise. Okay, so Neville mastered the rules of the game of our so-called reality in such a way that he set one record after another in manifesting, almost like a professional athlete with the mind. Okay, so in his VIP group, he demonstrated his skills over and over. The law of thought transmission was one of these. And this is the one that my grandfather is the one who told me about this. He actually sat in a meeting in the back of the Wilshire E. Bell Theater with Neville Goddard, where Neville Goddard actually did this exercise in front of him, and my grandfather shared this with me. All right, so Neville Goddard, this was the technique that Neville Goddard used for everyone to watch him do this. So he placed a telephone in the room, which had a loudspeaker. Then he told the group who he would be calling in his imagination. Okay, so what the reason of the call would be and what the caller would tell him afterwards. So Neville Goddard would be sitting in this chair, and he would go into his imagination, but he would tell everyone in the audience who he's going to contact, and what this person's going to say to him when they actually contact him. So Neville Goddard's creating this whole scene in his mind, in his imagination, to have this person, a specific person, call him and say something specific to him. And he's letting the audience know this before he actually does it. So he's sitting in this chair, then he goes into his imagination and he hears the phone ring. Okay, so this is the first thing that he does in his imagination. He hears the phone ring. Even though his eyes are closed in the three-dimensional world, his eyes are open in his imagination. So he's creating this scene. He hears the phone ring, so he looks at the phone, picks up the phone, and then he hears the person's voice. So that's the key here with this exercise. You want to make this as vividly real as possible, hearing the person's voice, hearing the phone ringing. And like if you were to do it more modern days, now you have a specific ringtone. Maybe when you look at your cell phone, if somebody calls you, you see the caller ID available for you. You can see that person's, avatar or their face or whatever you have, or their name. You can see that come up on the face of your phone. So if you were to use this technique now, you can actually create more things than Neville Goddard had access to then. So you can actually create this and hear the phone ring, look at your phone, pick your cell phone up, see a specific person, their name or their number or their picture pop up on the top of your screen. You pick it up and then you create what they are going to say to you. This could be somebody that you haven't talked to in a long time, someone that you want to reach out to you, someone that you really, really want to talk to, but this person hasn't reached out to you. You can use this technique, and Neville demonstrated that this is possible. And I've actually used this myself. I couldn't get it to work immediate, like Neville Goddard would get this to work instantly, like in front of them. The person would call like within a minute or two within the meditation, while he's still doing this in his mind and replaying this scene over and over in his mind. The person would actually call him during his imaginal scene. I could never get it to happen. It always happened like an hour later or a day later, that person would contact me. But that person would contact me if I did this correctly. But Neville Goddard could do it instantly. And my grandfather said that he was able to do it instantly. He didn't demonstrate that he was able to do it instantly in front of me, but he said that he has done this just like Neville Goddard has. All right, so now I'm going to break down the technique in detail for you. That way you can properly use this yourself. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to kind of map out what you want to create, the person you want to contact you and what you want them to say to you, and kind of just download the information from your phone, and things like that, like what your phone would look like, what this person's voice is, maybe listen to their voice if you have a recording of their voice. Download all this information, for your imaginal act. Okay, so and then you want to create about a 10-second movie clip in your mind, because you're going to have your eyes closed and you're going to do this in your imagination. Okay. So what you want to do is close your eyes and then imagine what the sound of your phone. Okay, so relax yourself, take some deep breaths, get really, really comfortable, and disconnect yourself from the three-dimensional holographic world. Go within yourself, get completely calm, take some deep breaths, and then focus on the sound of your phone ringing. What is that phone ringing? What does the ringtone sound like? Okay, so that's the first thing you want to do is create the ringtone. And when you create the ringtone in your mind, then you grab your phone. Then you're doing this on your imagination now, okay? So then you pick up your phone, you grab your phone and you're looking at it. You see the person's number, their face, or their name, whatever pops up on your phone. What would be the proper way to do it? So create that scene. Then you see that, you hear the phone, you grab your phone, you see the person's number or face or whatever you want to create. Okay. So then you hit the answer button. Okay. Then you tap the answer button in your imagination, and then you say hello. And then this person's now going to say what you want them to say. You do this, just create a 10 to 15 second movie clip. Okay. So the first time you do this, it may be kind of, bland. It may be not really not detailed at all. But as you do it, as you continue to loop the scene and keep recreating it over and over, it'll become more real to you. And that's the secret of creating with your imagination. Don't just do it once, okay? You don't just create the 10, 15 second movie clip and then let your mind drift everywhere. You want to bring it back. Bring it back 70 times 7, like it's told in the Bible, 70 times 7, until you create that scene and make it real, because the inner world is the real world. So if you can create something as real as your three-dimensional world to you within your imagination, then it has to take place in your three-dimensional world. And that's how you make it real, is by creating a short movie clip in your mind of 10 to 15 seconds, and then developing it, keep rerunning it, keep redirecting yourself, keep running through that movie clip until you make it real to you. The phone rings, you hear it, you pick it up. What does this person say to you? What do you say to this person? And then you loop it over. You create a quick movie clip, so it goes over and over and over and over, and you stay in this for a few minutes until it becomes solidly real to you. Solidly real to you. And if the person doesn't call you immediately, that person may be on his or her way to contacting you within the next day or two, or the next hour, or next 10 minutes, or it may happen. You may be one of those people that are just supernaturally gifted, that you can get someone to contact you during your meditation. If you make this thing real in your imagination, this person will contact you, because the real world is your imagination. And if you can make it real within your imagination, this person's calling you, then that person is calling you. And that's what Neville Goddard was able to do. And that's what he demonstrated for everyone in the back of the Wilshire Ebell Theater. And Neville Goddard actually covered this in Prayer, the Art of Believing. Neville Goddard described this as you needing a carrier for the transmission. So for Neville, you are the carrier, okay? And the carrier is light. And from a scientific point of view, light is nothing more than oscillating electric and magnetic fields. So in a sense, he transferred the information from himself to the other person through the law of thought transmission. And when you do this, when you imagine something like this, you're sending thought waves, and this person will receive your thoughts that you created for them. But when they receive these thoughts, they're going to think those thoughts that you created originated from them, and they're going to act from those thoughts, because they're going to believe that those thoughts originate from them, but they really originated from you and your imaginal act. And to those who consider this a form of manipulation, or it verges on manipulation, like making another person pick up the phone and following someone else's thoughts through the law of thought transmission, and I would like to address this with two essential points from a question of morality, which is creation is perfect and complementary. Nothing can be created or destroyed in any way. The moment in which Neville is called already exists. In the same way, there is a version in which Neville doesn't perform the demonstration at all. And this takes us to the infinite parallel realities, or the parallel realities that exist. So there is one version of Neville that did do that, and another version where Neville never did that. It's because there's an infinite amount of versions of everyone in the world. So it can go any which way you want. So essentially, you're living in your own individual world right now, where everyone is just playing their parts based on your feeling states, what you imagine, your inner dialogue, and everything that you got going on inside you is being pushed out into your singular world. So anything is possible to you within the infinite parallel realities. And also, we are the dream of God, and everything is. Everything we do to others, we do to ourselves. Nothing exists outside of us. The whole vast world is you pushed out. Our will is one with the free will of all beings. Okay, before we end this video, I'm going to break down the technique one more time with you. And this is going to take you 10 to 15 second movie clip, okay? But you're going to replay the movie clip over and over. So this may take you 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes, depending on where the level of concentration you have, your ability to focus. How developed is the muscle of the mind? And is it roaming everywhere? Is it going everywhere, left to right, thinking about what I got to do tomorrow, instead of focusing on this call? So you can make instant contact with someone with this exercise. So create a 10 to 15 second movie clip of your mind. This person calling you on your phone, okay? This person is calling your phone. You hear in your imagination. This is all done in your imagination. You hear the phone ringing, whatever your ringtone is. You pick up your phone, you see the caller ID, it's that person. You pick it up, you say what you're going to say, you create the scene yourself. What do you want to say to this person? What do you want this person to say to you? What does this person's voice sound like? Download all this information too before you go into your imaginal act, just so you can get a refresh of what this person's voice sounds like. Okay, so you know what this person's voice sounds like. You hear that voice in your imagination. You create a 10 to 15, maybe 20 second long movie clip in your mind, and then you loop it over and over again. So once you hear the phone ring, you pick it up, they say what they're going to say to you, you say what you're going to say to them, then you do it again. Then you do it again, and you loop it over and over. It's a looped scene and every time you do it, it's going to become a little bit more real to you in your imagination. You're developing that part of your mind. You are creating it. You're making it more vivid. You're making it more real, just like your three-dimensional world. And then soon it will develop to the point where it is your three-dimensional world. And then you trick the subconscious mind to believe that this person is really calling you. Then you shoot out a thought wave through the law of thought transmission to this person. This person gets a thought in their mind of contacting you. Whatever it may be, anything could happen in this person's world. All of a sudden, they remember you out of the blue, or they see a picture of you, or they just remember you, or something happens in their world where they just think of you. And they think that thought originated from them, but it actually originated from your imaginal act. This person will pick up the phone, they will call you, they will say exactly what you said, what you created in your imaginal act. But if it doesn't happen immediately during your meditation, you can count on it happening within the next hour or day or week or even a couple weeks. But this person will reach out if you do this correctly. And if you find that you're in this imaginal act, and you just can't focus on it, you can't create it, you can't visualize it, you cannot do anything within this imaginal act, your mind is just roaming everywhere, I have created a free PDF workbook. It's the very first link in the description below. It will develop that part of the mind, which will build the muscle of the part of the mind where you can focus and stay in this imaginal act to create it. Because sometimes this can be a stumbling block for a lot of people, which it was for me as well. But I developed it through this exact exercise, and that's a free PDF workbook that you can print out, and you'll find that it's the very first link in the description below. When you click the link, go to my website and scroll down to the bottom of the page, you will find that free PDF workbook. So download that. We'll email you a copy, print it out, do that exercise. If you find that you're having an issue with your visualization skills or your focus skills, staying in the scene for long periods of time and making it real. And I want everyone to come back that uses this and it works for. I want you to come back, leave a comment below of your success using this technique. This is straight from Neville Goddard in the back of the Wilshire E. Bell Theater, taught directly to my grandfather, EOL Jr., then passed to me, and now everyone else has this technique, and it's produced for you in this video. So apply this, use it, and remember, knowing you could know everything in the world, but if you never apply it, it will not work for you. You have to apply this. Just go into your imagination, create something, and just test it. And then when it works for you, you're going to know that it's real. Okay. You have to use this in application form. You have to apply this. Just do it really quickly if you want to, just try it out a couple times and see where your mind is, see what you can create. Maybe you have supernatural abilities that a lot of people don't have, and you go into this and you have the ability to do this immediately. Like it's your first time, you get it to work, you get it to work, you get it to work. Some people have that ability, the supernatural ability, to where they can just go right into these scenes and start creating things like immediately. So don't just watch the videos, don't just listen to the application, apply the application, use the application, do this yourself, try it out. All right, guys, I love you, and I will see you in the next video.